Hey, English 11, Mr. Nass here, and you're watching Unit 2, Lesson 3, which is all about Rhetorical Situation, Part 2. We're going to look at some rhetorical situation. We've already talked about it in Lesson 2. Look at it a little different way to prepare you for the mini-summative, which is coming right after this lesson. So let's jump right in. We have a few words here, in terms, that you should know. So take a moment and look at this list. At this point, you should be able to define all the words on this list. We have rhetorical analysis, rhetorical situation, exigence, audience, and purpose. Take a moment and think if you can define all those words. If you can't define all those words, you should go back to the Quizlet set that you made in the unit introduction to study the definitions of the words. And that's an excellent way to make sure that you understand what we're doing and make sure you know the definitions to these key terms. Once again, this is nothing new. You don't have to take notes during this part because none of this information is new. You already have it in your notes. If you don't have this chart framework in your notes, make sure it gets in there. This is how we're doing rhetorical analysis, looking at rhetorical situation first, which is right now. Then we'll be looking at appeals next week, and we'll be looking at surface features following that. Some of the questions we're asking this unit: what techniques are used to convince someone to do something? What makes an argument effective? How does a speaker's style affect audiences? And how can analyzing rhetoric provide a deeper understanding of a text and its purpose? Right now we're focused on rhetorical situation. Three parts of rhetorical situation are exigence, audience, and purpose, and all this is review. Rhetorical situation is a situation where someone's trying to change something. Someone is trying to change perspective of someone else. And quickly going through these three parts, just to review, if you don't remember, or to help you with the assignments for this lesson, exigence is the issue, problem, or situation that causes someone to write or speak. The audience is who is supposed to hear this or read this, and the purpose is usually inform, persuade, or entertain. And what does the author want the audience to believe, think, or feel after they hear or read the rhetoric they've created? So how do we figure out exigence? Once again, in review, we use context clues. When did this happen? What was the year? What was going on in the world? What kinds of issues were important, and why did this person decide to speak out? What do we know about the speaker, their background, what's important to them? What problem, issue, or topic is talked about in the text? How do we know the audience? How do we know who it's written to? Well, where did the text happen? Was it at some conference? Was it at a gathering? Was it at, is it an article from a journal? Is it a commercial? When does the commercial air? And what kind of language is used? Is it casual, formal, scientific? What do we see in the language? And then what do you know about the speaker? Who do they write to? Purpose, persuade, inform, entertain. And how do we know this? How do they organize the text? And maybe does the author want the audience to do something, believe something, or they just want to give them information on a topic? All right, so let's take a look at the assignments you have for this lesson in preparing for the mini-summative. The assignments here are focused on rhetorical analysis in music. So what you'll do here for the must-do is you'll do a little rhetorical analysis of the song by John Lennon called Imagine. And in order to do that, you'll be reading the context. Remember, how do we figure out exigence, audience, purpose? So much of that is what was the context? When was this written or created? So here's the context a little bit for the song Imagine by John Lennon. You might have heard the song before, maybe not. I think most of you will recognize it at least when you listen. So some of this context gives you an idea of when the song was written. Then you can listen to the song by clicking this link and Read the lyrics as you do. The lyrics are right there. And finally, describe that rhetorical situation. Down here, I have some sentence starters for you. To help you get writing, you can just finish these sentences to describe the rhetorical situation, or you can erase them and write about it in your own way. The most important thing is explaining all three, exigence, audience, and purpose, in what you write down in this box. And so that's a must-do. The should-do is actually very simple, but it's another great application for a rhetorical situation. And so let me jump back to lesson 3. Should-do, rhetorical situation, song of choice. Here you're going to apply what you know to songs that you know. And simply you'll think of a song, any song that you'd like to use that you think is rhetoric, that you think is written maybe to address a certain issue, to call out something that's happening in the world. Could be now, could be in the past, completely up to you. But you're proving that you understand rhetoric and rhetorical situation. So once you choose the song, please write the song title here, the artist here. Put a link to the song that can be YouTube if you can get that to work. That would be great, just so that I can get to know it if it's not a familiar song to me. And then a link to the lyrics here. Usually if you just Google the song lyrics, they'll come up, and that's fairly easy. Down here, the same thing. Describe the exigence, audience, and purpose of that song that you chose to prove that you understand rhetorical situation, because the next thing we'll do is the mini summative on rhetorical situation, and you'll be able to prove what you've learned so far. If you finish these assignments and you still have a little time, my advice would be to study that Quizlet vocabulary. If there's any of it that you don't know, you can star the flashcards on Quizlet and practice especially those words that are new to you, the vocabulary that's new to you in this unit. And that's a great way to just prepare and review as we continue to study. That's all for this lesson. We'll see you soon.